a young sister went to see Jimmy Cliff the other day. She said, I couldn't believe the man sounded exactly like the record. I said, but that's the thing about those artists in those days. They could do exactly what they did on record. They could do it live. She said, I kept looking at him and I kept thinking, but he sounds just like the record. This is a Jackie Wilson original, isn't it? Yeah.
Keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher and higher.
I wonder, is this Anna now? Greetings. Okay. So Anna, you can't. No, hold on, Anna, you can't phone up and say your birthdays and you're not going to. What? Come. This is our best listener. She phoned up and said, my birthday is September 2, I'm not tell you the day. And she put on the phone. We have some listeners, honestly, I tell you. You cannot get, if that woman go on air.
What's her name?
Anna. Anna is easily our best listener. Sometimes she ring me off 4 times a day.
Keep lifting me, keep on lifting me higher and higher.
You remember you were showing that thing with the sis? Okay. We're gonna be dancing on your thing.
Keeps on lifting me higher and higher. Keeps on lifting me higher and higher.
Yeah, the celebration gets better and better and better and better. Like I say, it's just one long celebration, and then the time just gets higher. Yes. Greetings once again. You're listening to Roots Doctor, and it's Omega Radio, and it is holistic healing. And I have the greatest of pleasure now to, as I say, I don't do interviews, we do reasonings. Yeah, we do reasonings, and of course you are very privileged today, because it's not very often we have this wonderful sister in the studio. We don't see enough of her these days. But let's celebrate the moment. My sister, is it okay if I ask you just to introduce yourself? Am I allowed to do that?
Well, given that it's your Earth Strong, you are actually at liberty to do almost anything. Almost.
Almost. I like the almost bit.
I give thanks for the opportunity to share with you, to reason with you today, and I want to send out warm greetings to our family, the Omega family, the African family. My name is Sister Dr. Sandra Richards. I am under European skies at this moment and had to come in and spend some time with you because it's your Earth Strong and you are the guest of honor. I was watching you dancing to your favorite songs. So yes, I greet everybody. I give thanks for life, the Most High, the ancestors, our ancestors, and look forward to spending a little time with you. Give thanks. Okay, so your phone's ringing and I see I'm
not sure. Let me just greetings.
Okay. I can hear you're receiving
All right.
warm greetings for your Earth Strong.
Oh.
This is exciting.
All right, my brother. All right.
How
All right,
wonderful.
Keith. Nice one. Give thanks for brother. All right. Rest.
You know, if I may be at liberty to share with the listeners
Yes.
and divulge what's going on here in the studio. Since I arrived here, your phone has been ringing off the hook with people wishing you well and all. You are very well loved, King. You are very well loved.
My sister.
It's an actual privilege for me to be here with you. I know you gave me that warm introduction, but I really want to acknowledge you and the works that you do. This is not an overnight relationship, you and I. We've been trudging for some time now. And I have been away from the UK for some time, just dipping in and out when I can. But I know that even in my absence, and when I'm here, I hear of the works that you're doing, the healing works you're doing, and the information you're sharing. And so for me, it's a privilege to spend some time here with you.
Yeah, you say away, but you know, your presence is ever here in one form or another. You know.
Yeah, give thanks. Well, you know, we're global, and you know, we're spiritual.
Well, yes,
so
absolutely.
you know, even if we physically remove ourselves,
Right.
if we maintain relationships and we do the works travels.
That's for sure.
You know,
That's
so
for
yes.
sure.
But I'm physically here with you, and I'm excited because you're in charge, and this is your Earth Strong, and we're gonna have some. I hope we're gonna have some interesting conversation.
Okay. What I really wanted to find out is to, you know, we've kind of gone in. I mean, you've said to me that you've been in reparation mode from morning anyway. So it's nothing new to you or nothing special. But what I wanted from you was to say, what you know, have you had to put any systems, any processes, any knowledge? Have you been doing anything in terms of your own personal reparations? And if you have, can you share any of that with us?
Okay, give thanks. So I am now aware that you're going to hit this conversation from any angle. I mean, I don't know what you're going to come up with next.
I'm holistic, sister.
Well, that's true.
We're both holistic
That's
thinkers.
true. That's true.
You always have to prepared for that.
Yeah,
and remember, you said to me many a time, you've always got to be ready. Do you remember?
Well, that's true because as African people, we are subject to all kinds of things happening. Some we see coming, some things are going to hit us, and we see them coming, and some things are unexpected. So, you know, we are on a battlefield, and I think that we've always got to be ready to be clear, to defend, to elevate, etc. Now, your question was about my own personal repair, right?
Yeah.
Because reparations is sometimes mixed up with the notion of repatriation
or compensation.
Or some other Asian.
Yeah.
And as someone who recognizes the importance of self in and among the collective, then of course when we talk about collective reparation, we have to also speak of individual and self-reparation.
Of course.
To ensure that the collective is strong. So if you have a weak link, of course the chain becomes weak. So each one of us has to do our own work, and we have to be brave enough to evaluate ourselves and determine the areas that we need to work on, and so on and so forth, and hold ourselves accountable. In terms of my own repair, over the last 10 years, I guess, I have been perhaps less visible in the UK because there was some work I had to do on myself, but I also had to be in service to my family. I think it's all very well if we're out here saying, you know, we are Pan-Africanists and we are activists and we are this and we are that. If our family is not where they should be and we're out there trying to fix the village, then we're actually not being true to what we say we are committed to. Definitely. So I certainly was spending some time in service to my family. My mother had become quite elderly and frail, and I wanted to honor her. And so myself, along with my family, actually really committed to being with her and being in service to her until she made the transition, which happened in April. During that period as well, I've been doing some works in the community, not necessarily just in the UK, but in the Caribbean and in other spaces. And that really encouraged me to see myself in different mirrors, because when you're in one place, you can hear different things, but you'll hear it frequently from a similar lens. If you take yourself out of your normal environment and then become a stranger in another environment, you can learn so very much, because people don't have a vested interest in you.
No.
They know nothing about you.
Yeah.
They don't have to try eggs up or mix up,
Exactly,
or they just tell their truth.
Yes.
And so I've learned that I needed to be more aware myself of the degree to which we need to not just talk about the theory of it, but we really need to talk about the practice of it. I've always been involved in the practice of it, but when you're taken to another place, you are really forced to adhere to the principles that you speak of. So these spiritual principles are the ones that I actually had to get closer to. I was with myself, not by myself, but I was with myself and the Most High for quite long periods of time. I had to become still. I had to listen. I had to take licks. I had to heal from the licks. And so I'm emerging now as a result of, I guess, some level of transformation. I'm more committed. I am more prepared, I guess, to expose myself. So here it is, I sit here waiting for any question you have. No, because sometimes, we're in a movement, right?
Sure.
We're in a movement, and yet sometimes we don't know each other's name. We don't know where each other live.
That's true.
We don't know what each other do for a living. We don't know what purpose the other person came to this earth plane to do, and so we can't draw on the skills that exist in our own gatherings. So I am quite open now to be more revealing. My children are grown. Everybody's grown now, you see. So the people I was protecting, I don't really have to. They're good. They're good. Yes. And I have to honor them and honor my mother and my father. And so I'm back. I'm back in the family now. So you're going to interrogate me today now, right?
Yeah. And we're both orphans, aren't we?
Well, I know, I understand the term.
Physical orphans.
Okay,
yes.
alrighty, because
we're not spiritual.
We can't be.
No, we can't.
We cannot be.
You can't be.
Not with the ancestors we had.
No.
We are never going to be alone.
Notice I used physical.
Okay,
physical.
Okay, I can work with that.
Yes. Okay. And how? And you're saying you're prepared. That's kind of like you're prepared to be more. Tell us something of the things you did in the UK before you left.
Okay, so
because there's a lot of people out there. They know of you for various things in the UK which they've seen you at, i.e. things like Day of the Goddess, etc., etc. But a lot of sometimes I talk to sisters who are not aware of the things that you did previously.
Okay.
Do you want us to give us a little bit of that journey?
Right. I won't spend too much time. Because it's right. So part of my journey has been linked to social policy, things that affect us in a social sense. And I don't mean gatherings and social time in that regard. I'm talking about the fact that we are social beings, and so education, health, housing, legal matters, injustice, things of those nature affect us in a particular way. The other thing is that as Africans who have come from another place, we have cultural norms which are sometimes at odds with the cultural norms here in the UK. And as a result, we are sometimes pathologized. So we're seen as being dysfunctional or a bit strange, I mean, we have hair that grows the way our hair grows, which is seen as untidy sometimes. We have language and intonations and and just a way of being that is not European.
Yes.
So sometimes we are
We
marginalized.
dance at bus stops.
We dance. Are you really going to go there? Okay.
No,
All right.
I'm just throwing something in.
Okay. So the work that I've been involved in over the years has been really to shine a light on the fact that we have an alternative frame of reference.
Right.
The way that manifests is that in where the rubber meets the road. So what do I mean by that? We come from households where there is a moral standard and there is a spiritual vibration and there are cultural nuances, the food we eat,
Yes.
the way we interact with each other.
Right.
You know, we move our arms around, we
Right.
laugh a lot, even
Right.
when we are challenged, we may laugh, but it doesn't mean it's funny.
Sure.
And so we're misunderstood. So when our children go into school and they're being themselves, they're often marginalized or discriminated against, or which will result in them being excluded from school. So we have situations where we send our children to places expecting that those places will treat our children well, and find to our horror that our children are being pathologized.
Right.
They're being told they have ADHD or some other condition. We're told they're disruptive. We're told all kinds of things, and it gets us. We don't expect it,
Right.
and so in the beginning we begin to believe it because we think the teacher must be telling the truth.
Yeah. And they must know their teachers.
They must know, yes.
Yeah.
And so we send our children to school, and then our teachers are so helpful, and they tell us all the things that's wrong with our children after they kind of win our trust and our confidence. So my work originated, a lot of my community work originated in supporting parents
Right.
to understand that the school system is designed for a particular purpose.
Right.
Our role as parents is to ensure that our children are educated. The school is designed to school your children to be subservient or to serve or to earn money because we have a straw
Right.
character. So we have to pay taxes. So our children are sent to school. The ultimate objective is that they should pass the exams and then get a job and make somebody else rich.
Right.
If there's any sign that our children are not going to do that, then our children come to the attention of the system. Then we are told our children are not conforming and they're dysfunctional, and then we go down a road, and I think the most recent term is pipeline to prison or something like that.
Yeah.
So there is a relationship, there's a trajectory between...
The school prison pipeline.
Right, thank you. So I wrote about this some years ago. In 2008, I wrote about, the effect and the impact of the schooling system on us. So some of my work was activism around just being an advocate for equality and going into those environments and defending our children, highlighting the fact that we need to be more vigilant of what happens to our children in school. Don't just send them there and think everything's okay. No, walk through the school, make yourself visible, make yourself noticeable, so that the school is more reluctant to pick on your child, listen to your child, involve your child in other activities. So that was part of what I've been doing. I've also been involved in, it's commonly known as empowerment. So largely women's empowerment, but also men, brothers as well.
Sure.
Because we live in a village,
Yes.
and the village has males and females.
Absolutely.
So it makes no sense to only have the women elevate themselves and heal themselves.
Sure.
We also have to have brothers healing themselves and elevating themselves. So I've written around this, and I've done seminars and workshops around this. What does it look like when we look like what we should look like? That kind of work, so that we know what our relationship with ourselves should be, what our relationship with our brothers should be, or our sisters, with our children, with our elders, with the Most High, with our frame of reference. That we come from another place, we should go to that other place, that we should be comfortable in challenging and relanguaging. So the most recent thing is the Windrush generation. So we all now talking about the Windrush generation. And before that we've been called coloured, and then we are talking about being coloured, and
we always been defined by somebody
that's
else.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yes.
So my work really is to raise an awareness of our legitimacy.
Right.
You know, we are legitimate in terms of
Our self-validation.
Absolutely.
We validate ourselves.
And not to keep, not to reference ourselves against a period of enslavement.
Exactly.
This is an intervention in a history, but it is not who we are.
Yeah.
You know, we are greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who knows me socially will hear me speak to brothers and call them king.
Yes.
And recognize their divinity. Likewise with sisters. I refer to sisters as queens and empresses because they say, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are.
Right.
So if it is that I wish to be seen and treated like royalty, I must also treat others as royalty.
It's reciprocal, I agree.
Absolutely. Show me your company and I'll tell you who you are.
Well, you know, if we're the first, you know, in the planet, then you know we can claim that legitimately. There is no argument. You know, that royal status is ours. There's no question about that. You know.
It absolutely is, and it is not being taught in schools.
Agreed.
So that is part of the challenge, that we are conditioned, if you like, through a very systematic, consistent process to imagine that we are not worthy. So when we come before a judge or a doctor or anyone who looks like us, we almost look for the European person to ensure that what is being said is legitimate.
Right,
because could it be so that African people really did build great civilizations, that African people can heal, that African people can go beyond notions of religion and actually be spiritual? Could it be that African people design and create things? I mean, can you imagine a world like that where we validate each other?
No, there's something I remember you saying. I'm always doing this to you, aren't I? Bringing back these sayings that you said in the past. you said to me that when we used to go to our own schools, we built the pyramids. Since we've been going to their school, we built nothing.
Well, unfortunately, we have education.
I had to laugh when you said that.
We have education, but we send our children to school, so they get schooled. That's the challenge. And so, which school do you know that is a Eurocentric school provided by the government, what they call academies, many of them, the high schools now, actually tells you about your greatness, actually sets you up to be the inventor, to be the next world leader, to be the healer?
No way.
I mean, I'm not aware of this.
No.
It's actually relatively recent that we have had books that depict ourselves. We see reflections of ourselves as scientists and that kind of thing. Before, all of the images were of people that don't look like us.
Absolutely.
That cannot be right.
And they went back through history, even the ones that were authentically like us, sticking their own faces on.
Absolutely.
On the thing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And many of us don't like the idea that we're saying that. You know what I mean? So it's not just that they don't like that would have happened, but they don't like the idea that some of us are saying that. They would say, well, why don't you forget it? That's in the past. Actually, it's not in the past. It's very much in the present. So we have changed a lot of the books. We have made some level of adjustment to the curriculum, but we have not gone as far as we need to go to ensure that all children know that they're all valuable and that African people brought forth so much more than the current curriculum says we did. Right. That's the kind of thing we need to deal with. When our children find out, because they go to, I don't know, other meetings, or the parents have been proactive, and they go to school and they say, but Imhotep is the father of medicine. They are told that that's not quite true, you know. And then the child is forced to find the evidence to tell the teacher, and then the teacher tells the child, well, I never knew that. Can you imagine? Our children are being taught by people who may not know, many of them do know, that our ancestors were great inventors, healers, and all of that.
All of that.
It's hidden from us.
Agreed. I hear that. Wonderful, sis. Wonderful. Yes. And just in case you don't know where you are, you're listening to Omega Radio, and this is the Roots Doctor, and I'm having a read with Sister Dr. Sandra Richards. Yeah, go tell your friend and thing them, yeah man, go listen to Omega. Omega got really interesting way. Thing I go on Omega and I have to go listen, yes. And you know, you're all participants to the reasoning. You know it go already. We're not just here talking to ourselves. We're actually talking to the universe. So tell people. I'm hoping I can interest you in taking some questions later. Is that all right?
Oh, you brought me here to interrogate me.
No.
I thought I was going to share in your earth strong with you.
I'm talking about listeners calling you.
Oh, I see. You're not talking to me.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from listeners, because I find that, sometimes people on the radio know things, but the listeners often know more.
Tell me about it. Absolutely. Or even if they don't know more, sometimes they come from an angle that you never saw it like that. A guy once was talking once about we used to talk about Bruno and Frank Bruno, and whether young African men should get involved in boxing because boxing is such a violent sport, and really should be banned. And a brother rung up and said, "Listen, man, Frank Bruno for going at the ring of fight for get money, because man will beat him off the street for nothing." It's better him in the ring of fight till I get money, because if him go to the street, man will lick him up for nothing. I thought that was brilliant. Sorry, my sister.
That's okay.
Continue.
That's okay. No, I actually wasn't saying anything. I was listening. I told you I've been away for a while, and I've been learning to listen more.
I hear you. And they say that our ancestors say we have two ears and one mouth.
So my father used to say that.
Yeah. Let me play some music. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. I hear you. To look at cameras, are you?
Oh, you do what you want. It's your earth strong, you can do what you want. You can even dance. Go ahead.